Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today we're back with the Helix again, and we are looking at what you might call a Helix hack. That's actually quite a good name for a series. So I'm fortunate enough to have started gigging again after the pandemic. I had my first gig back last week and I used my Helix on this gig. It was a function gig, and what I've done over lockdown is I've just overhauled my tones. So my benchmark is my JCM 800 patch. I use that for most songs on most of the gigs I do. And anything new, any other new patches I add, I compare it to that patch in terms of levels. So one of the amps I had a problem with in terms of the levels was the Vox AC30. So the sounds were good, but it didn't quite. The levels weren't where I wanted them to be. So this is one of the ones I had to adjust on the fly, using the foot switches while I was playing. So let's have a look and see how we do that. But just quickly before we get into that, if you like this video, or if you like any of my other videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm still trying to reach my first 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. I'm also looking into making some of my patches downloadable. I know a lot of people have been asking me for that, so I'm going to pull my finger out and get that done pretty soon. So keep an eye on this channel. Anyway, back to editing. So for most of my gigs, my benchmark is this JCM 800 sound. That's what I use for most gigs, for most songs on most gigs. So I'll use that as a starting point. I'll compare everything to this in terms of volume. So on the gig that I had the other day, I had to use my Vox AC30 patch, and the technique we're going to talk about, I had to use that during the sound check to make it to get the right level. So normally what I would do is when I'm creating these patches, I'll compare everything. I'll compare the clean volume of each patch to the clean volume of the JCM 800 patch that I showed you a second ago, and I'll just do it by ear. What I did for this gig was I took a recording that we did a couple of years ago. We were able to record everything as separate tracks, so I just played the concert, muted the guitar parts and played along. Got my levels right with the JCM 800, and anytime I did anything else, I would adjust levels accordingly. So in this case, I did go to the Vox AC30 amp. I did adjust the levels to be where I wanted them to be, but it wasn't enough. So you really need to do this when you're with a band, when you've got the band in your ears or through whatever you're monitoring through, and adjust your levels. Someone in the band doesn't like it. Doesn't like seeing me twiddle. Doesn't like seeing any of us kind of adjusting things when we're performing, even in soundcheck, I don't understand. But anyway, so this technique is really cool, where you can adjust things on your Helix with your feet while you're playing. It does mean you need to know the song pretty well, so you're not going between thinking about the song and thinking about your edit. But I'm going to show you to do that now. So I managed to get my push sound pretty good and my clean sound, and you'll notice that when I went to the patch, it defaulted to the pushed sound. So that's the one I seem to prefer on this gig. So I do notice that the overdrive wasn't quite loud enough. I didn't get to the overdrive or the lead sound, which I'm not using them that much anyway, but I want to have them ready just in case I do need them. So this is my clean sound. Here's my pushed. Okay, so that's pushed sound. Here's the overdriven sound. So you can hear it's quite a bit quieter, and I might even adjust some of the EQ there as well. Here's our lead sound. So notice the EQ sound is no longer in stereo. Everything else so far has been in stereo. The lead sound I'm doing in mono, so I've taken the double take off. That needs to be louder as well. So let's do the overdrive first. So here's my pushed sound again, just to remember what the volume level is. Okay, and here's our overdrive. It needs to come up a bit. So what we do when you're performing this, either when you're performing on stage or in the sound check, and you don't want to use you don't want to bend down and twiddle with your hands, you can use your feet. So you can hold this bit down, the preset stomp, and it opens up all of these effects blocks for you to play with, and they all start flashing. So we want this one here. We want the amp block, the SX A30, which is our Vox AC30 amp. So along the top now we get all the parameters within that AC30 block. You can page along if you want more parameters, but we're going to go back here to the first one. We've got drive, bass, cut, treble, presence, and channel volume, which is what we want. Okay, so we're going to click on channel volume, and that takes us to the bottom part now, which we need to, where we can adjust our volume. So we're going to turn the volume up. We're currently on 3.7, which you can also see here. And because the reason you can see it here is because you can use your expression pedal to adjust the volume if you want. It seems quite sensitive though, so I like to use these ones here, value down and value up, and they're a bit more. There's a bit more precision to it, so I prefer to use these. We were on 3.7, I believe, so let's go back. Let's see if we can go back to that. 3.6, that'll do. Go up a bit. Let's try 4.1. Now I've actually forgotten the volume of the of our pushed sound, so let's compare. So you can either exit here if you think actually I don't want to change anything, I just want to exit. You can just click on this button here. But if you want to save it, you just hold it down and it will save and take you back to this performance mode. So there's our overdrive sound. Let's go back to the push, this reference from that. Overdriven sound. And that's pretty good. Maybe I could turn it down a little bit actually. Let's have another listen. Actually, I think that sounds okay. I might just turn this cut down a bit, just to kind of. It sounds a little bit muffled. Yeah, I think that sounds better. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's go back to pushed, save it. So when it opens it up again, it will default to pushed. Let's have a look at this lead sound. So here's our overdriven sound. Lead sound. So that needs to come up a bit. So once again, we go to preset stomp. We go to this button here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Button number 6, which will be in your Helix manual. You want to adjust the SX-A30. Again, we want to adjust the channel volume. We want to make it a bit louder. So I'm going to use the value up. You can use the expression pedal if you want to. I prefer this one personally. Okay, so I'm going to try that. Obviously, I'm comparing it to the previous patch. If you're doing this on the fly with your band, then you can just save it when you find the right volume. Which obviously I've got no backing band with me now, so I'm just doing this how I would have normally done it at home. Let's save that. Okay, here's my overdriven sound. Let's turn the volume up first. Here's my overdriven sound. Lead. Let's go from pushed. That's all right. I might make it a little, just push it a little bit more. All right, so into edit mode, editing my amp, editing the volume, and let's go up. Let's go up to 2 more, or 0.2 more, and save that. Back to my pushed sound. Lead. I'm going to leave it at that. If I do need that on a gig, maybe I'll quickly do this in the next sound check. I'll just quickly go into the lead sound, see how it sounds compared with the band, and then resave it. So there you go. I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that way of editing to be useful. It's a great way of editing while you're actually performing, so you don't need to use your hands and bend down and stop playing, and you can actually edit while you're playing. You kind of do need to know how to play the song pretty well, so your mind can handle both tasks at the same time, but it is a great way of editing on the fly. Definitely useful for me, and it will definitely be useful for you if you have people in your band who don't like seeing you adjusting things, knob twiddling. Or if you just you don't think it looks good, and to be honest, I don't think it looks that good either. So it's great for visuals. If you can edit with your feet, it kind of just looks like you're playing normally, and probably no one's looking at you anyway. So yes. Anyway, hope you found that useful. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.